Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Today was a Fan First Friday where we got a bunch of PR news, and the first video I want to discuss things with is we did get our first look at the Dino Fury opening credits, meaning we know what the song sounds like, and we got some new shots in there, and I'll break it down. But first, let's talk about the song itself. As expected, I think like 99.9% of us expected, it's the same crap. It's the mmpr theme with like a 30% difference grafted over it. I mean, I fully expected it, based on the fact that for 10 years we've had basically the same theme song with a little bit shuffled around, and because it's dinosaur based, it's probably going to be the last in this iteration. Everything pointed to it being, so I think I'm less annoyed at this one being mmpr again than I am just at reminding me that it's been the same the last 10 years. There's some parts about the original beats that I like, but for the most part, it's a disappointment as expected. So, a surprise to be sure, but an unwelcome one. But now for the theme song itself, it's another shorter one, it seems. There's some kind of cool shots in it. You know, you start with a shot of the Zords, there's a shot of the three Rangers, the core three Rangers, and there's something I want to talk about that at the end, but the core three Rangers in front of that Dino Henge place that we've talked about kind of in the episode descriptions and whatnot. You know, we get a look at the core three Rangers just as civilians. We have their opening title credit things, you know, where they would say their names. Zato, Preston, and Amelia, and all that. So we get a look at that. Some shots of the villains. Boom Tower's in there. Geysorg's in there. What's his name? Void Knight. There we go. Void Knight's in there. A shot of one of the Drudions in the big form. One of the more notable shots is Zato in a knight armor, and if you look at the visor on top, it's very reminiscent of Void Knight as well as like the keys and stuff. I'm really curious about that backstory. I think most of all, I'm curious whether like he as an alien brought some Order of Knights to Earth when he landed years ago, or whether when he came to Earth, he joined an Order of Knights and that's where the Ranger motif was inspired from, and then went into a sleep. I think it'll probably be that one, but I'm definitely curious about that, and I think this is just further confirmation they're using the Knight theme. I think people were overly worried about them not using the Knight theme just because of the name, but I mean, I was pretty sure they were going to use it in some form, and especially since Void Knight has the name Void Knight, but this just further confirms it. There's also a shot of Red Ranger looking like he's coming out of the Tyrannosaurus Henge statue, or like is being powered by it, so that makes me almost wonder if he stores the powers in those Dino Henge statues and they, you know, come upon him like that. That's possible. They just show a couple of the Zord formations, like most notably, I mean, we have the 3 Knights one that they're showing off. They already showed the 5 Knights one in the trailer a couple times, and then they have a shot of whatever the fire formation is going to be called, and then it does kind of end on this cool animation of like the T-Rex roaring and going into a logo. Kind of reminds me of Dino Thunder a bit, but yeah, again, disappointed by the theme song. But something I want to talk about real quick before I give some other thoughts is how stupid their spoiler practices are. I don't care about spoilers at all. I don't consider any of the stuff they're trying to hide to be a spoiler, but I find it silly that they only have the core 3 Rangers in the credits, and in some pieces of their promotion, they're almost trying to keep Green and Black a secret, even though they've already announced them. And just before they showed this opening sequence, they showed a photo of the whole cast. And they're like, there might be a new version of it later. I'm like, dude, you just showed Green and Black, we know about it. And then during the toy reveals, they're like, well, we don't want to spoil any of the other Zords after the main Megazord. Even though they showed all of them in the trailer. So I just think that's funny. But yeah, disappointed by the theme song. There's some cool shots in the trailer, in the opening, just to get me thinking about, you know, the night theme and stuff like that. So I'm curious how that's incorporated. It kind of confirms that it's being used. So that's kind of the 2 things that I'm most curious about as we go into the show, is how Zato's backstory is going to work with that, and how Dino Henge might play into the powers and whatnot. But what did you guys think of the theme song and some of these things we got to look at in the theme song opening? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can catch my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.